Well, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for being here on yet another beautiful AHA night. The weather loves this event every year. It's awesome. My name is Zane Cox. I am the specialist for financial services and compliance at the New Bedford Economic Development Council, as well as project manager for Seaport Art Walk, and I'm here with...
And I'm Margot Saulnier. I am the Director of Creative Strategies for the New Bedford Economic Development Council. And I oversee New Bedford Creative, and we have lots of different programs that we would love for you to check out at newbedfordcreative.org on our website or social media. But that's not why we're here tonight, right?
Right.
So we are here celebrating public art and the Seaport Art Walk, and it is easily one of my favorite nights of the year.
Agreed, and it is one of our programs, so kind of what we're here to talk about.
Yes, exactly.
In any case, it is our pleasure to welcome you all to the official opening of the 2026 Seaport Art Walk!
Woohoo!
That's the spirit, good. We're very, very proud to be part of yet another fantastic year for public art in New Bedford, and we're going to have so much fun tonight hearing from our featured artists. So, judging by the faces here, you probably have already heard this rigmarole from me, but just a little bit of background info on the show if you're unfamiliar. New Bedford's annual Seaport Art Walk was founded in 2013 by artist Jessica Bergoli Sparling. She's also our curator, and she's here tonight, right over there. Nice big round of applause. I asked Jess if she wanted to say anything during this part, and she said no thank you, so I'll let her curatorial work speak for itself tonight. Seaport Art Walk was and is New Bedford's very first large format outdoor public art exhibition. Every summer we have beautiful murals and sculptures and installations of all kind strategically placed along MacArthur Drive and in the working waterfront of our city's beautiful Seaport Cultural District. Every year we have a different theme for the show, and this year, 2026, our theme is Good Trouble. And I do have a statement that I want to read just because it explains a little bit more about the theme and what it means to us. I'll get it open here. By the way, all credit goes to Jess for coming up with the theme. This is
another round of applause for Jess Bergoli. Yay!
All her idea, and it's awesome. So in 2026, we invited artists to get into a little bit of good trouble. Our call for art challenged corruption and injustice, seeking bold works that dare to imagine a more equitable world. This exhibition, marking the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, honors those who speak truth to power and invites artists to create in that legacy, exploring themes of civil disobedience, community organizing, cultural resistance, and more. New Bedford has long been a city of resistance. During the American Revolution, British naval intelligence described it as a harbor much used by the rebel privateers, whose vessels greatly annoyed His Majesty's trade. This history reminds us that the spirit of challenging authority and defending our community runs deep in our city. This year's featured works are rooted in activism and social progress, confronting unjust systems of power, honoring the local freedom fighters that came before us, and telling stories from the front lines of marches and movements. And above all, they serve as expressions of solidarity and hope, standing as beacons of light in times of darkness. Good Trouble was our call for art this year, but it is also a call to action. And the specific phrase, Good Trouble, comes from a quote from Representative John Lewis of Georgia, I think, who on March 1st, 2020 said, "Get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and help redeem the soul of America," which I think is what we're trying to do here, isn't it? I think so. So that's our theme for this year. A little bit about our partners and funders. Seaport Art Walk is facilitated by New Bedford Creative and is a collaboration with the City of New Bedford's Parks, Recreation, and Beaches, Explore New Bedford, the Massachusetts Design, Art, and Technology Institute, aka DATMA. Special shout out to them for providing the kiosks for our photo show this year, as well as UMass Dartmouth's College of Visual and Performing Arts. This program is supported in part by Bristol County Savings Bank, Barr Foundation, and the Cultural District Initiative of Mass Cultural Council. Most of the funding for this program is provided by the City of New Bedford's Arts, Culture, and Tourism Fund. And on that note, we would like to say a special thanks to both Mayor John Mitchell and the New Bedford City Council for their continued unwavering support of the arts in New Bedford. It's extremely important, and we're very gracious for all that support. So thank you to all of them. And one more quick shout out. I don't think she's here tonight. I haven't seen her. But we want to thank Giselle Gilbert. And if that name isn't familiar, Giselle, for the past few years, and probably even longer, has been single-handedly helping to maintain and beautify the garden beds, not just along MacArthur Drive, but in Tonizon Park too, where we're going to walk down to in just a minute. And she's been doing that by herself, on her own time, on her own dime, which is fantastic. So thank you to Giselle. Kind of a hidden face. And I think that's about it for our intro. That's all you'll have to endure from me for now. And if you'll follow me, we're going to head over to our first piece of the evening, this way. Welcome to stop number one of the evening, a piece which proves that a video can debunk 1,000 lies. It was created by a gentleman who really is a kind of a veteran of the Seaport Art Walk at this point, from beautiful Warren, Rhode Island. Please welcome Ed McAloon.
Hello. Good to see everybody out here tonight. Good Trouble is activism against injustice and oppression that can take on many forms. At its most effective, it expresses a viewpoint by vocalizing, carrying signs, marching, sit-ins, and other type events. These are physical acts performed by groups of citizens in a peaceful, non-violent way. My piece demonstrates a more passive but essential contribution to these efforts. In our current media-flooded world, disinformation and lies spread instantaneously. Also, because our society is so blindly partisan, statements from leaders of any group are accepted as gospel. Violent attacks on citizens by government agencies and law enforcement have been denied by lies in many incidents. Brave private citizens recording these events on their phone have changed the equation. When our constitutional rights to free speech are being eroded on a daily basis, documenting these incidents is essential. As long as we are standing clear and not interfering, it is our constitutional right to use our phones to record these events for the world to see. In this way, then everybody gets to make their own assumptions as to what really happened in the event. Thank you.
Welcome to our, I think we're calling this our digital gallery exhibition. This is a way for folks to participate in the show that wouldn't normally get the opportunity to. Folks that don't necessarily work in outdoor large-scale installations. Any type of artwork that you have, you can submit it to this show and get a chance to get in, which is super cool. So we have, I think, 5 people participating this year, one of whom is kind of a returning champion from last year, Beatrice Alder. And aside from Beatrice, I also want to give a shout out to Paula Robinson Deere of New Bedford, Suzanne Shireson of Dartmouth, Danielle O'Malley of Helena, Montana, and Deborah Kennedy of San Jose, California. So we had a little bit of a switching around and seeing what worked, and ultimately we decided that Beatrice's work would just be so cool for this year, and it almost kind of fits this theme, maybe even a little better than last year, but regardless, it's still super cool. So here is Beatrice Alder.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Beatrice. I'm a local printmaker, ceramicist, and writer, and a lot of the work that I make is about queer history and queer ancestors. Queer people helped build New Bedford. We have always been here and we always will be here. And I hope that the work that I make reflects that. This is some scrimshaw, which is a kind of folk art which originally was etched into whales' teeth by working whalemen, but I make what I like to call vegan scrimshaw. It's ceramic, and my designs are etched into burnished clay instead. But because here we all are together, I thought I would like to bring some show and tell. So I'm gonna pass around a couple of these pieces if you want to take a look at it and see how it feels. It's all meant to be touched. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. A couple years ago, New Bedford Creative was accepted into the Bloomberg Connects program. This is the free global arts and culture app that anyone can download for free on their phones. And it has hundreds of arts and culture institutions throughout the world that you can visit on your own device. And New Bedford was the first city in Massachusetts to feature its public art on this app. So we're very proud of that. And if you do download it, you can also find that New Bedford has the Whaling Museum, the Art Museum, and most recently, the City Art Collection that is housed at New Bedford Free Public Library on this app. So if you want to explore New Bedford's public art on your own time, this is a great way to do it. We have tours that are throughout the whole city. So the North End, the South End, we have 2 downtown public art tours, and we welcome you to check it out.
This is a piece entitled The New Colossus, and it was created by New Bedford artist Mandy Frazier. Now, Mandy is no stranger to this exhibition. Normally she does come, and she loves to come on the tour and talk about her work. She's not here tonight because, lo and behold, she actually managed to get free tickets to the World Cup quarterfinals. So I told her that's a good enough excuse, right? So she's not here tonight, but I do have a statement from her that I'll read right now. So Mandy says, this piece is a silhouette of the Statue of Liberty and an American flag made out of an excerpt from the poem The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, which is the poem on the base of the Statue of Liberty. Lazarus's poem defines the statue as a welcoming mother of exiles, representing compassion and refuge for immigrants. It has long been a symbol of freedom and opportunity. The cracks in Lady Liberty in my sculpture represent the decay of our present-day liberties and lack of asylum for those seeking refuge or a new life in the land of opportunity. The ongoing fascist attack on anyone perceived as a non-white outsider is an abhorrent affront to liberty, freedom, and American fundamentals. The idea is to remind folks of the nature of the statue and of our nation. Also, ICE. I talked to her last night. She made me promise that I would say that, and she put it in big capital letters in her statement so I wouldn't miss it. So I don't know if the cable network's going to keep that, but you heard it from me first, folks. That's Mandy Frazier. All right, that's it. I can't answer any questions. I know Mandy very well, but not enough to talk about the piece. So that's it. We're going to go down to our next destination. All right, well, folks, we are standing where they stood. This is a piece with a kind of sort of unexpected and conventional interactive element to it that I don't think we've had before in this show, but it's really cool. I'll let the creator speak about it himself. And I want you all to give him an especially warm welcome in a second, because not only is he a newcomer to this show, he's a first-time entrant in Seaport Art Walk, but he is joining us today all the way from his home in Portland, Maine. Here is Timothy Goldkin.
Hey all. Yeah, thanks Zane. So my name's Timothy, and like Zane said, I am an artist from Portland, Maine. This work is called Where They Stood, Good Trouble. Where They Stood is sort of it's kind of a system I've been trying to develop. I'm an artist who's interested in kind of the intersection of art and history, and trying to find ways to make site-specific work and inspire folks to think more about where they are, how the place that they are in got to where it is. So this piece is about a couple different things, but Eulalia Mendes, she is our character here, and her story is that she immigrated here to New Bedford at the age of 12 in the early 1900s. By the age of 14, she was working in a textile mill, working 60 hours a week, and by 18, she became a leading organizer in the strike of 1928. She helped bring the Portuguese community into the strike by translating a lot of the labor organization speeches. During her time, many of the textile mill owners would place different workers from different ethnicities and cultures together to try to stop them from collective action and organization. So she helped bridge some of those gaps by translating a lot of this into Portuguese, and unfortunately, they were not ultimately successful in their efforts, but the work of her and thousands of other folks here in New Bedford really did help kind of set the stage for a lot of the later labor wins that would come all the way through the New Deal. Now, unfortunately, Eulalia and many of her other cohorts and organizers were actually deported later in the 1950s in the McCarthy era. She was called a communist because of her role as an agitator, and because of the arrests that had taken place during the strike, she was unable to attain her citizenship. So she was deported from this community, which she grew up in essentially and helped shape in the 1950s, and Portugal wouldn't take her at the time, again because of her agitator status for her efforts in the strike. And so ultimately she was deported to Poland, completely foreign place to her, and she lived there for the rest of her life for 50 years in exile. So this piece the story is meant to try to help us understand that history is made by ordinary people. Often in our culture we think about history as these catalytic moments that are made by generals and presidents and, you know, magnates of industry, and I think that that's really kind of a bummer, and I think we all lose our own power in that narrative, in that type of storytelling. So I'm much more interested I recognize that in our lives today, what we're all doing, you know, each one of us, we are part of what makes history, just like Eulalia was. And so this piece is here to sort of try to not only show you where she stood, but ask you where you stand as well. And the piece is interactive, as Zane mentioned, so if you scan this QR code and stand about here and point your phone at her, a web-based augmented reality experience opens up. You don't have to download anything. You just push the button that says open the experience, point it at her, and another photograph of her and her organizers will project into real space behind her. As you turn in each direction, another supplemental image of what it was like to be a mill worker, the strikers themselves, and then an image that talks about the deportations of some of these activists. So I'd invite you all to give it a try, scan the QR code, point it at her, see what you think, and there's contextual text along with each one of the images. I've been working on developing this project, and it's all about site specificity. And so as an artist, I'm not the arbiter of representation. I have a vessel that's a project that can tell stories, but I'm super interested in understanding the stories from the point of view of that community. So luckily Zane plugged me in with 6 or 7 different cultural leaders here in New Bedford, and I was able to come down for a couple days in May and start researching. Actually, I want to throw a special thanks out to Spinner Publications, because they were really huge in the image allocation and helped with some of the research. And I knew it needed to be a woman. It sounds like it, as in other places in the world, what the feedback I got from a lot of the organizers here was there are a lot of statues to men. So I wanted to find, and again, I wanted to be someone whose story isn't always told, and to try to bring that to the forefront. And Eulalia was one of the top contenders, and as I started to study her story more, it just really resonated with me.
And this last piece we're going to stop by this evening is from a very crafty gentleman based in Wareham. And I told him this story last night. I eat at a cafe in Wareham every week, and they have the paper there, the local paper. And a few weeks ago, I picked it up, and his face was right on the front cover, on the front page. It was fantastic, and there were all sorts of great pictures of his work, including this piece. So it was a really great teaser for the show. So here is the headline-making front-page man himself, Eric Lintola.
Thanks, Zane. The title of this work is The First Poet, Homage to Everett Hoagland. Good Trouble, Protest and Poetry. This was Everett Hoagland, New Bedford's first poet laureate from 1994 to 1998. Everett Hoagland passed away on July 5th, 2025. He's remembered in the New Bedford Light on July 8th, 2025. His book, The Ways, Poems of Affirmation, Remembrance, Reflection, and Wonder, has been named a 2023 American Book Award winner and is noted as one of the most significant African-American poets of the late 20th century. His poem, Breath, was written for the local protest group, Breath, at the time of George Floyd's killing. In his poem, Hoagland repeatedly recites the protesters' chant, "No justice, no peace," calling out the hypocrisy in American history. His poem, As I Ebb Toward the End of Life, reflects on his life's experiences. Here, both the conch shell and the noted steel shackles that I include in my sculpture have relevance. The poem reflects on a child's experience of being assured by putting a conch shell to one's ear to hear the ocean and its peacefulness. Eventually, as time goes on, Hoagland reflects on his own experience. He places a conch shell to his ear and heard sand-ground prayers, curses, cries, screams, pleas of several centuries, many thousands gone by slave ships into the bottomless blue. The sculpture itself is a visual narrative paying homage to Everett Hoagland. Every element represented is symbolic of his life. Anyone making their way through the ways will be humbled by Hoagland's ability to sculpt words into meditative, actually spiritual edifices. Here, the tall white cylinder represents a spiritual edifice. The conch shell is referenced in his poem, As I Ebb Toward the End of Life. The shackles also referenced in his poem where he speaks of cries, screams, and slave ships. The book represents his great achievement of collected poems. The figure represents a transformative state of being one who is well connected to and knowing of the world around him. The 3 birds that grace his presence represent what we all should commit to. Never look away from trouble, never look down on anyone, and always speak out. Thank you.
folks, this is our final destination of the evening, but it's actually not our last piece. There's one more piece that's a part of this show, and the reason we're not going to walk to it is because it's a little bit of a distance away, and the artist isn't actually here to speak about his work. I can't explain it as well as he can. We do encourage you to visit, though. It's down that way, a little bit north. If you head over there, cross the street, it's on the corner of Elm and Route 18. It's where, if you know Seagull Cinderella, it's where Seagull Cinderella normally lives. It's a piece called Novel Idea by an artist named Craig Gray. It was actually installed back in April as kind of a teaser for the show. And what it is, it's a functional concrete bench that's constructed from 16 individually carved concrete books. Craig is really interested in the idea of banned books. So his idea was to take a whole bunch of banned titles and piece them together into this bench. If you go over and look at the titles, you'll see some that are more generic that you might see on a lot of banned books lists. But he gave us the opportunity to have our own input. So as part of the project, we reached out to, I want to say it was around 100 or so leaders in the New Bedford creative community to get their input on what books, yes, and artists, leaders and artists, to get their input on what they'd like to see. And we got a lot of great feedback from it. So there's more generic titles, but there's also some more local titles as well that you'll see, books that folks don't want to see banned. And as a matter of fact, it ties directly into Eric's piece because one of them is Everett Hoagland's book. We've been trying to find a way to honor him for the last year or so, and what better way to do that than by having not one, but two pieces that actually pay homage to Everett Hoagland, the first poet. So I do encourage you to head down that way and take a look at the piece. And special shout out, by the way, goes to Craig and his wife, because they actually brought that piece in the back of their pickup truck all the way here to New Bedford, Massachusetts from their house in Key West, Florida, which was incredible. Yeah. So big shout out goes to them. And that's it. That's our show for 2026. That's Good Trouble. So I just want to thank you all very much again for being here. This is one of my favorite days of the year, just because this tour is awesome and the show is awesome and you all are awesome. You make it happen. So thank you for being here. As Margot said earlier, please make sure to download the Bloomberg Connects app if you haven't already. It's a super cool resource for all the public art in New Bedford and more. More is being added every day. Check out newbedfordcreative.org for news and updates on projects and programs. And I do encourage you, if you have the time, to head back into downtown and check out all the rest of the AHA offerings going on tonight, because there's plenty of them. And one last request that I would make, just personally, if you do go back that way and you run into any trouble, just make sure it's the good kind. Okay, that's all I ask. All right. That's it. Thank you. Stay safe. Good night.